Cadence offers an FTP integration for a more automated approach. An FTP integration can be established to allow your team to automatically import contact data and export data from the platform. In this integration, the campus will be required to host an FTP server, and Cadence will act as a client. Both SFTP and FTPS are supported. FTP settings is where you can begin by selecting your protocol. FTP with implicit SSL or SFTP are accepted. For FTP with implicit SSL, enter your server information, the port number, and enter a username and password. The Cadence IP address is noted here in case it may be needed for whitelisting. For SFTP, enter your server information, the port number, and enter a username. Select an authentication method. If selecting SSH public key, the public key is displayed. This key will need to be configured for the user on your SFTP server. If using a password, enter the password. After initial configuration is established, you will have access to an FTP Dashboard page. The FTP Dashboard will provide information on the latest imports and the latest exports. To configure your FTP import settings, enter a file path to establish where the import file will be located on the FTP server. Enter a file name prefix to establish the naming format of the import file. This prefix will be used to locate the files within the path specified. Select whether you would like the integration to import the most recent file in the path specified or all matching files found in the path with the desired prefix. Select whether the file is comma or tab delimited, and then select what you would like us to do with the file after import. Imports can run up to 4 times per day. You can select any combination of the times offered. Enter an email address into the notification emails area to generate a notification email every time an import occurs. The field mapping section covers all potential fields that could be included in your data imports. Fields need to correspond with the column headers and fields in your import file. There are 4 Cadence fields that are required: contact ID, first name, last name, and mobile number. All of these need to have a corresponding column in your import file. User ID is an optional field that you can assign contacts to specific users. Optionally, you can choose to import texting preferences for each contact in the opt-out settings area, entering the name of the column in your import file that corresponds to opt-out status. Then, specify the value in the field that pertains to an opt-in and an opt-out. There is also an option to specify how empty values should be treated. Up to 25 additional custom fields can also be included on your imports. Click the Add Field button to add a new custom field. Once complete, click Save. The import log provides information for the files that are imported daily. Each file has a total, success, and error number. Total is the total number of contacts on the file, how many were successful, and if there were any errors on them. To configure your FTP export settings, there are 3 different types of exports that can be configured. All are optional, and all are configured and scheduled independently. Messages exports all message activity in the team. Opt-outs exports all changes in texting preferences that have occurred since the last export. Delivery errors exports all message delivery errors across the entire team since the last export. Before exports can begin, settings around the export file need to be established. As a reminder, each export type has its own configuration settings, as indicated by the separate tabs at the top. Each requires a file path. This file path is to establish where the export file will be placed on the FTP server. Enter a file name, select whether the export file should be comma or tab delimited, select a format for date values that exist in the import file, whether you want that to be UTC or campus time zone. Exports run up to 4 times per day, and again, you can choose any combination of the options offered. Enter an email address for any email notifications. The field mapping section allows you to map the data fields related to the export to a corresponding column in the export file. Choose the Cadence field from the dropdown on the left-hand side, and then type in what the field should be named in the export file on the right. The name you type in will become the name of the column header. Once complete, click Save. The Export tab provides a log of all daily exports and if there were any errors when sending the information back to your server. There is also an option to run any exports manually. If you have any questions about setting up the FTP integration or need help troubleshooting, please reach out to support@hellomongoose.com.